What happens when three cocky college kids decide to humiliate what they think is just another old man, only to discover he's a 20-year Marine veteran who doesn't need to throw a single punch to teach them the lesson of their lives? I'm talking about a night that went from celebration dinner to viral internet sensation, leaving three young men's futures in ruins. Trust me, you won't believe how this 54-year-old completely dismantled their egos without laying a finger on them. Ray Emerson and his wife Alice were supposed to be celebrating. At 54, Ray had spent 2 decades in the Marines, and now Alice had just been promoted to department head at Presbyterian Hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina. Murphy's Tavern held special meaning. It was where they'd had their first date 26 years ago. But 3 University of North Carolina students had been watching them all evening from their corner booth. The blonde one in the backwards baseball cap kept nudging his friends, pointing at Alice and whispering. Alice, at 49, still turned heads everywhere they went. Tonight, in her blue dress with her auburn hair catching the bar lights, she looked stunning. "Ready to go, honey?" Ray asked, sensing trouble brewing. That's when the blonde kid stood up, his 2 buddies flanking him like some kind of parade. "Seriously, though," he said loud enough for half the bar to hear, "what's a woman like that doing with a guy like you?" The stocky one in the Letterman jacket chimed in, "She probably changes his diapers." The tall, skinny one blocked their path to the door. "Come on, beautiful, we'll show you what young guys can do." Ray looked at these boys, soft hands, designer jeans, the kind who'd never thrown a real punch in their lives. 20 years of training Marines had taught him to read people instantly. "Yeah, sure, kiddo," Ray said with that calm, dangerous tone Alice recognized from his military days. The blonde kid mistook restraint for weakness. "What's that supposed to mean, old-timer?" "Nothing at all," Ray replied. "We're just leaving." But as they headed for the exit, Ray could feel the energy shift. Pete, the bartender, shook his head apologetically, like he knew what was coming. These kids weren't going to let it end there. Ray's mind flashed back to his Marine training, how he'd taught hand-to-hand combat at Camp Lejeune, dealing with recruits who thought they knew better than their drill instructor. He'd learned how to read an opponent's balance, their momentum, their intentions written in the angle of their shoulders. In the parking lot, dimly lit with just a few streetlights casting long shadows, the inevitable happened. "Hey, where are you going?" the blonde kid's voice carried across the asphalt. "We weren't done talking." All 3 stood under the parking lot lights like they owned the world. The blonde had his phone out, probably planning to record his moment of glory. That's when something clicked inside Ray. Not anger, more like a switch flipping from civilian Ray to Staff Sergeant Emerson. "All right, sweetheart," he said to Alice, handing her his keys. "These boys just want to dance a little." He shrugged off his jacket, folded it neatly, and handed it to Alice. The movement was deliberate, practiced. "You want to dance?" he asked the 3 kids. "Let's do it. But one rule, one at a time." The 3 college kids started laughing. Young men in their pride, always their weakness. "You serious, old man? You want to fight all 3 of us?" "One at a time," Ray repeated, "unless you're scared." The blonde kid pocketed his phone and cracked his knuckles. "This is for calling us kids, Grandpa." He wound up for what he thought was a devastating right hook. But Ray had seen this exact scenario hundreds of times in training. College boys always lead with their ego. Ray watched him telegraph the punch for what felt like 3 full seconds. In the Marines, they called it slow-motion Sunday, when adrenaline makes everything crystal clear. Ray stepped to his left just enough. The kid's fist whooshed past his ear, carrying all his momentum. When you put everything into a swing and hit nothing but air, physics takes over. The blonde kid stumbled forward, arms windmilling, and crashed face-first into the brick wall of Murphy's Tavern. The sound was like a melon hitting concrete. "Brad!" the stocky kid in the Letterman jacket yelled. But Brad was done, slumped against the wall, blood streaming from his nose. "You broke your own face," Ray said calmly. "I just moved out of the way." Tyler, the stocky one, pulled off his jacket. "I played football in high school." "Good for you," Ray replied. Tyler lowered his shoulder and charged like he was going for a tackle. High school football tactics against someone who'd spent 2 decades training Marines in close combat.
Ray waited until Tyler was 2 steps away, then grabbed his outstretched arms and used his own momentum to pivot him sideways. Basic martial arts principle: redirect force instead of opposing it. Tyler found himself spinning toward the dumpster behind Murphy's. The dumpster was just high enough that when Tyler hit it at waist level, his legs kept going up and over. "Help! I'm stuck!" came Tyler's muffled voice from inside the dumpster, wedged upside down among garbage bags, flailing like an overturned turtle. Jake, the tall, skinny one, was backing away now. "This is crazy! You can't just assault people!" "Assault?" Ray raised an eyebrow. "Son, I haven't laid a finger on either of your friends. They assaulted themselves." "I'm calling the police," Jake said, pulling out his phone. "Good idea," Ray said. "Make sure you tell them how 3 young men followed a married couple into a dark parking lot and threatened them." But Jake's pride got the better of him. While talking tough about calling cops, he wound up for a sucker punch, thinking he could catch Ray off guard. Ray ducked. Jake's fist connected solidly with the parking meter behind him. The crack of knuckles hitting cast iron echoed across the parking lot. Jake screamed, not a yell, but a high-pitched scream that probably woke half the neighborhood. He clutched his right hand, tears streaming down his face. "My hand! You broke my hand!" "You broke your own hand," Ray explained patiently. "I ducked. You punched a parking meter." By now, people were coming out of Murphy's. Pete stood in the doorway shaking his head. Other patrons had phones out recording the aftermath. 20 years Marines taught me patience, boys. Also, taught me leverage.
The aftermath was swift and brutal for the 3 college students. When police arrived, Officer Patricia Williams, who knew Ray through veteran support groups, took statements while reviewing phone videos from witnesses. "So let me get this straight," Pat said. "They followed you into the parking lot, made threats, and then hurt themselves trying to attack you?" "Basic defensive tactics," Ray confirmed, from military service. The college kids tried claiming Ray attacked first, but 3 different phone videos showed them instigating everything. Jake needed surgery for his broken hand, Brad required stitches, and Tyler emerged from the dumpster reeking of garbage and shame. But the real consequences were just beginning. 2 weeks later, Alice showed Ray his phone during breakfast. "Honey, you need to see this." The video had over 2 million views across social media platforms. Someone had compiled all witness footage into one seamless piece with slow-motion replays titled, "3 College Bros Get Schooled by Marine Grandpa Without Him Throwing a Single Punch." Comments were merciless. "Imagine being so weak you get beaten up by physics. That Marine didn't even break a sweat. When keeping it real goes wrong." The viral fame destroyed their lives systematically. University of North Carolina students recognized them, leading to disciplinary investigations. Their fraternity suspended all 3 permanently. Brad transferred schools after facial scarring required plastic surgery. Tyler lost his football scholarship and dropped out entirely. Jake faced expulsion, multiple surgeries, and the end of his baseball dreams. 6 months later, when Ray and Alice returned to Murphy's for their anniversary, Pete had installed a small plaque at their old table, where respect was earned and lessons were learned. "Do you ever feel bad for them?" Alice asked over dinner. Ray watched the Friday night crowd, young couples, families, older folks enjoying quiet evenings without harassment. "They made their choices," he said. "Actions have consequences. I just helped them learn that lesson faster than they might have otherwise." The 3 had discovered that respect isn't owed just because you demand it, that real strength isn't about intimidating people who seem weaker. Their public humiliation became a permanent record, searchable by future employers and partners. Their 20 seconds of bad decisions had reshaped entire futures. Brad, Tyler and Jake learned that some mistakes echo far beyond the moment they're made, and that underestimating someone based on age can cost you everything. As Ray held the door for Alice that anniversary night, he reflected on the parking lot where 3 young men had received the hardest lesson of their lives. Sometimes the best victories are the ones you never have to throw a punch. The internet never forgets, and neither would they.
Have you ever witnessed or experienced a situation where someone learned a hard lesson about respect? Share your story in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story of instant karma and life lessons, smash that like button and subscribe to Hidden Hearth for more incredible real-life stories that will leave you speechless. We share the most unbelievable human experiences that remind us how quickly life can change. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads.